So, once again, I'm going to make this is kind of a combination of a drug video and just an overall funny story. I've got some other stories to tell, but I have to sit on them for the time being. This is a story that I can tell you. Yeah, I'm going to change the names to protect their identities. But I was living in Portland for close to a year. And my homeboys that I was living with, we'll call him Cracker, and we'll call her Big Bird. Call her Big Bird Cracker, whatever. Was hanging out there, which is actually where I'm going to be living pretty soon. But at the time I was living there, and we all like to party. I mean, as you guys know, I like to party, and there's very few drugs that I haven't done. I came across my friends like to do heroin, and I had done heroin before, but I'd only snorted it and smoked it, and honestly, I didn't really like it. I, just because it made me really nauseous. It made me puke, and it made me really itchy. It just felt like I had a handful of fucking Percocets. Now, it wasn't terrible, but I had I had talked to other people that have done heroin, and the people that I had talked to were like, dude, you're just wasting it. Like, why? If you're gonna do it right. Fucking shoot it. But see, here's the thing: I've done practically every drug known to man, in excess too. Um, but I had promised myself I'd never shoot anything, just because it's dangerous, and also the main reason actually is because I'm terrified of needles. Like, you know, I'm scared of needles. They fucking freak me out. Like, someone pulls out a needle, even if it's a doctor. It's like I gotta sit in the corner with my head between my knees and like practically just close my eyes and wish it goes away. That I'm terrified of needles. But they were partying, and they had bought some fucking heroin, and they shot some up, and I watched them. First time they did it in front of me, I don't think I did any. Pretty sure I didn't. I just watched them. But you know what? It wasn't the evil drug that it got painted to be. And I watched them, and they were fine. They were fine. Like, they sat and had a smile on their face. They were obviously fucking high. What the fuck? Well, why else would you do drugs if not to get high? So the second time, though, like, I watched them do it again, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this shit. I mustered up the courage. I don't know how to shoot myself up. And again, I'm petrified of needles, so I don't even know if I could because I'm too scared. So my homeboy Cracker, he helped me out. It was the weirdest thing. Like, we were all well, Cracker and I was drunk. He shot me up, and I know he didn't mean it. I know he didn't mean it. So he wouldn't fuck with me like that. Like, that's kind of a fucked up thing to do, like to overdo somebody, right? He just shot me up with the amount that he did, and that was cool because you know what? Why, if I want to go through um, all that anxiety and stress, and allow someone to put a fucking needle in my arm, I want to get fucking hot, like let's not fucking dick around. And he knows that's how I roll, and so he did, and at first it was like I felt it. It was cool, and I guess the feeling is like, I mean, it's an opiate. It's the grandfather of all opiates. It just felt like I was. It was kind of hard to tell because I was really drunk already. So it was kind of hard to tell. Like, it's hard for me to describe the actual effects. Very similar to morphine or Percocets, Darvocets, pain pills, Vicodins. But it was weird because like we did it, and then like Crackerhead and myself were gonna go and get a pack of cigarettes at the bar. And he lived in this big ass condominium complex, and it's like this fucking walk. I mean, we're talking like a quarter mile of a walk, like just to get outside of the complex and then go to the fucking 7-Eleven. And we went, And I was feeling okay. I mean, I was drunk and I was fucked up, but we get about maybe halfway there. And all of a sudden, I don't know why, all my motor skills stopped. It was like, I remember walking and I started doing like the bob and weave, and I'm walking straight at first. And it's like, okay, walking a little over here, walking a little over here. But then all of a sudden, something happened. And I was conscious. Like, I knew mentally what was going on, but I fell down. Like, and I tried to get up. I tried to pick myself up. I tried to stand up. I couldn't. Like, my body was just like snapped. It was like done. So I remember lying there, and I remember him saying, "Get up, Zach. Get up, get up." And I could hear everything he was saying, and he was trying to pick me up. And my homeboy Crackerhead, he's about my size, maybe a little bit smaller, but not significantly. And either way, like he couldn't pick me up. Now, mind you, it's not because he's a wimp. It's because you're talking dead weight. You're trying to pick up something that's heavier than yourself, uh, especially when you're fucked up too. Like, well, he tried and he did manage to get me up, and he's shaking me and he's like kicking me and like rubbing my head like get up, and uh, yeah, he managed to get me up, but I couldn't walk and he couldn't hold me up. So, and he kept saying, the cops are going to come. Somebody's going to call the cops, man. You got to get up. And I knew he was right. And I could hear everything he said. I just couldn't do anything about it. And I tried to tell him I can't get up. But I was like, and that was about all I could do. It was the weirdest thing. I never lost my motor skills quite that bad. And then he leaves. And then he gets his wife, which we're going to call Big Bird. Big Bird came out. She's cool as shit. And Big Bird is an Amazon. Beautiful. She's just, well, Big Bird. She's tall. She's 6'2". She's a Viking warrior. And anyway, well, they came and they carried me. Like, I don't know who grabbed below my armpits, and then somebody grabbed my ankles, and they walked me back. They carried me back like a invisible, like I had an invisible stretcher underneath me. They carried me back and flopped me back in their condo on the couch, and like they put a trash can next to me. And I wasn't puking, but you could in time, especially on that drug. They just rolled me on the side and said and ironically, it was like maybe 30, 40 minutes went by, and I snapped out of it like enough that I could sit up. And I was like, oh. But I'll tell you this though, that's probably the closest I'll ever get to heaven. I'm not advising anybody to do heroin, but now I understand. I understand why so many celebrities like, fucking Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, and the likes, there's the list goes on, have killed themselves on heroin because it's that fucking cool. Is it dangerous? Absolutely. But that's why people that seem to have everything in life, all the fortune, fame, pussy that they want, end up fucking killing themselves. It is a fucking cool drug. Dangerous, but at the same time, I get it now, and I'm glad. I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I tried it. I don't think I'll ever do it again, but I am glad I tried it because I'm just that type. I'm the adventurous type. I want to try everything. I want to see what it's about. We only live once. I'm glad that didn't kill me, which I was pretty close to overdosing, which is what that means when you are unresponsive and can't function and have no control over your motor skills anymore. But I don't regret it, and it was a interesting experience. Interesting experience.